Start the meeting. We have the roll call, please.
Boyd,
Here.
Goldbeck, Kalachian,
Here.
Hatwig, McNary,
Here.
Roper, Simmons.
Here. Thank you very much. Item number 2, meeting minutes. We have January's meeting minutes to approve. Any comments or corrections to the meeting minutes? If none, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Meeting minutes are approved.
I abstained since I was not here.
Okay. 1 abstention. Paul. Approve the agenda. Any changes to the, desired changes to the agenda? If not,
I have one update.
Okay, thank you.
The address for the heritage property nomination, it should be 373 through 383, not 375. So essentially, anywhere you've seen 375, it's 373.
Let's say 375 on the building. Was that the confusion?
Yes. I got, it was confusion based on Sanborn maps versus currently registered addresses, so.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Okay, so do we have a motion to approve the agenda with the amendment to the address? Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Agenda's approved. Item number 4, consent calendar. There are no items on the consent calendar. Number 5, there are no continued matters. Item number 6A, please. Robin is here. Commission item A, the first one.
Item A, ID 19-1288. The property owner has requested that his property located at 373-383 North Fresno Street be considered for designation as a heritage property. The Paul A. Christensen buildings are remnants of the historic streetcar route in Fresno. The Fresno and F Street line was constructed and opened in 1909 and abandoned on April 30th, 1939. According to Edward Ham Jr., author of When Fresno Rode the Rails, Fresno Street between Divisadero Street and Olive Avenue was known as the main northbound business artery and consisted of small business and residential uses. These buildings are located in what is now known as the Yokomi neighborhood. The subject property consists of 2 attached buildings constructed of brick. One is a 2-story mixed-use building on the northern portion of the lot, 377-383, constructed in 1922, and the other is a 1-story commercial building on the southern portion, 373, constructed in 1948. 377-383 was constructed as a streetcar commercial property type, with elements of the Italian Renaissance and Craftsman architectural styles. 377-383 North Fresno Street is what Richard Longstreth, author of The Buildings of Main Street, refers to as the 2-part commercial block, the most common type of composition used for small and moderate-sized commercial buildings throughout the country. This public lower-level and private upper-level block type is most often found in towns and neighborhood commercial areas that developed along streetcar lines. The person who appeared most frequently through research of these buildings was Paul A. Christensen. As an electrician, he began utilizing the commercial space at 377 North Fresno Street in 1947 as a base for his goods and services and as well as living upstairs at 379 with his wife Ava. By 1948, he had commissioned and constructed an addition to his commercial space located at 373 North Fresno Street, and by the late 1950s, they relocated. The Paul A. Christensen buildings meet the definition of a heritage property as a resource which is worthy of preservation because of its historical, architectural, or aesthetic merits, because they are associated with early 20th century commercial development in Fresno and have distinction as a streetcar commercial property type. These buildings are potentially eligible for listing in the City of Fresno's local register of historic resources under criteria 1 and 3. However, the owner is currently pursuing designation as a heritage property in order to make timely use of the California Historical Building Code for a rehabilitation project. He may pursue listing to the local register at a later date. Because the Paul A. Christensen buildings appear to meet the definition of a heritage property, staff recommends that the Commission approve the request for designation.
Any questions for staff?
373 is part of it. My email that gave the address is 377 to 383. I didn't realize it was the whole one-story building also.
Yes.
Which is fine, I mean.
377 through 383 applies to the building on the right, which is the two-story building, and the building on the left, attached is the address 373. And they're both within, this parcel here.
Separate parcels?
No, it's one parcel, two buildings.
Laura, I think the confusion is also, it's noted here on the agenda as 375 to 383.
Yes, at the beginning of the meeting, it's okay, no, it's good to reiterate. I made an amendment to, the agenda noting that wherever it says 375, it should read 373.
To add additional confusion, it actually says 375 on the building.
Yeah.
I have a message from the property owner that, because of rot and termites, they need to replace the two storefronts, but they're replacing those in kind, meaning, keep not changing the design, but coming back and replacing, he said, as in the replacement as in the Peerless building, the same kind of window frames in aluminum, keeping the windows as the same. I don't know if that alters anything, but I got that today.
I did speak with, one of the owners on the corner building. He came out saying, can I help you find something? I said, well, I'm here to see this building. And they have, already been working, scraping some of the paint off the bricks, scraping the wood, which is, I'm sure, how they found these conditions to be replaced.
Yeah.
It sounds like also from talking to the renters next door, because I did that again today, there was a bunch of the awnings, all these mechanical awnings that would retract and you could still see them on the overhead part of the two-story building, but apparently there was a bunch of retractable awning stuff on the building to the left as well. They have all that stuff in the back. And they would like to kind of resurrect it and get it back on the building and use that as obviously put new material on it. But they want to recondition and put those things back into place best they can.
Do you know what's proposed for it? Is it gonna be commercial space and residential above? And
I don't know.
not that it matters to our decision, but I'm just curious.
Yeah, my understanding is that it would be a mixed-use building again, right, Laura? Once he's done?
Yes, I believe, the ground floor, if just talking about the two-story building, the ground floor, would be commercial space, but I believe the upstairs might be, rehabilitated for office use.
Oh.
Although once this is, if and when this is designated, I'll have to double check with the property owner on his, proposed project.
Do we? Sorry, go ahead.
Laura, to the point of awnings being brought back, would that then come back before us?
That's a good question. I'm not sure the installation of awnings is always considered a substantial alteration. But
Yeah, I mean, in addition,
I think it
in
depends.
general, in the past, things that, are kind of attachments to the building, which could be removed, generally are looked at administratively, but permanent alterations to the building, especially the facade, are brought forward. I mean, it's a little bit case by case, but that's
But I feel like in this
general past practice.
right, in this instance, if the proposal was to bring back the original awnings, I'm not sure that would be something that would be needed to bring
So okay,
back
so
to
I
HPC.
understand the awnings were original, they weren't an add-on later.
You can actually see between
Right,
the transom windows and the main storefront windows,
Right.
the pockets,
I
with
can
the little
see.
arms where they retracted in and,
These
yeah,
right here,
exactly.
they're deep, they're like that deep, and they have all the gizmos in there. But there's also a question about
Yeah, you can.
It's really,
what that one looked like.
it's really that one that I'm questioning.
Oh, interesting.
There's a bunch of 2x4s sticking out of, that would have been cut off, it was once,
Wonder if that was more of a
Something.
canopy than like an awning.
yeah.
Like a canvas awning or whatever.
And they were wanting to do something there, but I don't know if we have any historic record of or
Right.
pictures of
I was
what
gonna
that
say
might have
something
looked like.
I have not come across yet are historic photos, so if
'Cause there are some buildings that we have gotten involved in on awnings that have been torn down where we can clearly see them in a historic photo, and they were, you know, a cantilevered something or other, and, you know, the argument was that they were falling down, and so we took them down, and our argument was, well, we need to put them back up.
Wax market.
Yeah.
That's one.
Yep. So, you know, if they're wanting to do something to that facade, it'd be great to know if the replacement of the awnings, is a desire, and certainly if they are gonna do something, we'll want to try to figure out what was there.
I'll take another look at the original drawings, 'cause I was able to find original drawings for this building. I'm not sure whether or not it included awnings, though, in those.
The security grill and the coiling door were probably not original.
That's a
likely.
period roll.
As well as these.
So does that have to come off? 'Cause I'm sure they.
I presume it will at some point, 'cause they're trying to operate a business there, but,
That's probably why that's there, because they're operating a business? That's not original, so is that part of the
right.
designation, is that has to come down, or?
I wouldn't consider it a contributing, feature.
Right, well, and we've never, that I'm aware of, made anybody, after designation, remove anything that wasn't historic, or even required
Right.
anything that was lost to be added back. It's more a matter of, okay, the state that it's in now, you can't alter it away from the historic, what remains of the historic state any further without going through this whole process, but you're not required to go in and take off everything that was, like, for example, a good example is the Expositor building on Fulton Street, which this group designated 2 or 3 years ago as a historic resource. It was designated on its merits as Fresno's oldest standing commercial building, the site of Fresno's first newspaper, but its appearance was you know, altered drastically in the 50s, and they haven't been required to actually go peel off the aluminum, you know, siding that was put up and all of that. Now, they change it, and then it's gonna have to follow the, you know, the rules and come before this group, but they're not, once it's designated, they're not required to go and kind of de-alter it and put it back at that moment. The same would be here, but if he's gonna do anything that's significant to the facade, it would have to go through the process and come to you. Or if it's just a matter of adding on a light sconce, that might just be done administratively, but if it's gonna alter the building, that's gonna come before this group, so you guys can evaluate it on its merits and see if it's appropriate.
Well, I guess it sort of just poses a philosophical question. What is meaningful about this building historically if there has been so much added to it that is, quite honestly, detracts from it, right? So if we're saying this building is valuable because of its historic, because of when it was built, but over the years it has been added to, the facade's been added to, what is it we're really celebrating here?
Well, I mean, you know, I'm actually kind of astonished at how unaltered especially the two-story part is. I mean, the security, bars that have been added on, I mean, those are kind of a bolt-on accessory, but the main building is there, the double-hung windows with, you know, the true divided lights on the upper sash are all still in place. That's becoming harder and harder to find. I mean, it's actually pretty remarkable how intact it is. One of the residential doors has been replaced. One of them looks original. It's for buildings of this vintage to, you know, find them still pretty much there with just maybe some unappealing things stuck onto it, but the building itself still in existence
I
is
know that some of the,
kind of impressive.
I know the Peerless building was cited, but all of the storefront windows at Peerless were all replaced with laminated glass, so they wouldn't have to do this. So,
Yeah.
you know, it'd be great if somehow the owner could find it within themselves to replace all that with laminated glass and get rid of all the things that detract from the integrity of the building.
Well, based on Commissioner Simmons's comments, it
Yeah.
sounds like that's
That's what he says he's
exactly what
doing.
he's looking
So
at.
that's what he,
Yeah,
and it's
that's what he
laminated
says he's
glass,
doing. Yes.
not the framing, but the.
Right,
If
that's
that's what he's gonna do, this is fantastic, that's fantastic.
Well, and I think also the request for naming it a historic resource is a little different standard than if they were looking to be on the local register.
Agreed.
yeah.
As far as integrity.
And the intent of getting on the, as a heritage property is so that you get the architectural building code.
Historic building code.
Historic building code, so he can determine what he can do and can't do as far as these upgrades are concerned.
Right, it'll make the rehabilitation more feasible.
There's very little happening in this neighborhood, and this is one of the really significant buildings, you know, in Yakomi. So, yeah, I'm really pleased. I know it was originally purchased, was going to be purchased for the CRMC, to be used as office space for CRMC. And members of the commission and the former officer had long conversations about maybe, you know, using this building for the neighborhood, and not just for CRMC.
From this point north, all the way to Belmont, it's actually interesting mixed-use buildings and streetcar commercial buildings that that have a degree of urbanity that you don't usually see out of downtown. In Fresno, you get a little bit of it in the tower. You know, there's a little bit here and there, but this is really urban, you know, building stock, and this kind of, you know, neighborhood commercial node that was evolving outside of the main downtown that we never had a whole lot of to begin with, and not much of what we did have remains. And I mean, at Belmont, there's even another two-story mixed-use brick facade, brown brick building that is really neat. And yeah, it's an interesting kind of quarter-mile strip there from, you know, maybe McKenzie up to Belmont.
Agree. Any other questions for staff? All right, I'd like to open it up to the owner or the public for comment.
The owner's not here.
Right.
The owner regrets he could not be here. He's currently in the Bay Area.
Bring it back to the commission for additional comments. or a motion?
I'd like to make the motion that we accept staff's recommendation to this as it's a heritage property.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion's approved. Can't wait to see that one come back.
Yeah.
That'll be great. All right, commission item B.
So at our January HPC meeting, under unscheduled items, I had brought up discussion of our maintenance monitoring committee and wanted to see if the commission desired to create a subcommittee to participate. And I believe it was Dawn and Christina who had agreed to participate. I followed up with Robin and Paul since they were absent, and Paul has offered to participate and Robin volunteered to be a backup. So I thought I would use this opportunity to formalize that subcommittee.
Motion to approve the subcommittee? With Robin as an alternate?
Ron, I think that's you since we're all on the subcommittee.
Yeah.
I guess that's true, huh? You wanna make the motion, Ron?
Sure, I'll make the motion. Do we approve the subcommittee?
I'll second that. That makes it, I like to say all those in favor, but all you guys are abstaining, so. I have that. When, do we know when the first, meeting will be?
Our next meeting is Wednesday, at 1:00. And I have confirmation from Paul, Robin, and Christina for attendance. Yep.
I'm sorry, I was confused. What was the vote for this?
Ron motion, I second, and then we, since these all, people are all on the body.
Just checking.
A flexible sort of
Yeah.
establishment, as they say.
Exactly.
Okay.
Super casual.
Well, thank you guys for volunteering for that.
Okay.
All right, next item is the chairperson's report, which there is none. Unscheduled items, members of the commission, any unscheduled items? Want to bring up?
I will be attending a California Preservation workshop on adaptive reuse in historic properties, March 22nd. Yes,
Where's that at?
San Francisco.
Oh, fun. Anything else? Staff, unscheduled items?
Just one thing, I wanted to introduce Linda Scambray. She is a new co-president for Heritage Fresno. And we just met recently, so, and thank you for coming.
Thank you. I am going to be co-chair with Janice Stevens. We formed a board, and we met once, we're meeting again shortly, and we're kind of adopting a cause to start off with some force to help, the boxcar, the Mercy boxcar, the Gratitude boxcar, put in a new place with a roof on it, so we could keep it, was our aim. We're working on that, and we'll be here at the next meeting for that reason, to discuss that topic with you.
Beautiful, thank you very much, and thank you for coming this evening.
I had to scope it out before I came back,
Anything else, Laura?
I have nothing else. No.
General public, any additional items, comments you want to bring up? Nothing? Okay. That concludes this very short meeting tonight. Thank you very much. And this meeting is adjourned. We'll see you next month.